conversion, but they're like $400, $500, $600, and that's mid tier. The really expensive shit is close to $1,000.
Yeah, that's really expensive.
You said 1,000.
Oh yeah. Like the really, really expensive, rare, like they only made like if they like people who like the I think the burning.
I was gonna ask, are some of those made of pure metal? Oh, made with pure metal pieces only?
No, they're rare.
Oh shit!
Like if someone like if you want the golden burning Gundam, and this was like years ago, and I think like the burning golden, the burning, the shining burning, the shining golden burning Gundam, like highest tier kit. Like I think for like the normal ones, it's like $600 in Japan, like the equivalent, because I'm not doing the conversion to yen at that time. But like when it came out, it was like $800, and then because it was so rare, because they only made like I think 150, 200 of them. Price skyrocketed. It was like in the thousands. So, when people come here and they're like, oh, well, toys are for kids. These action figures are for kids. It's like, no, they're for people who can buy them. And the people who can buy them are adults. Like, once people understand that shit.
Especially in some of the, even here in America, because there's a guy I talked to that likes to paint and collect action figures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those action figures, those figurines can cost upwards to $400 to $500. Especially the custom made ones can go up to thousands of dollars. There's a figurine of Chun-Li that's so detailed that
you can see the veins in her thighs.
Yeah, like you can see like certain markings and like certain flaws and human skin on her like it's like it's a one of a kind thing, so it could easily go for thousands of dollars.
Well, you have to remember that in order to make those types of figures, like the level of articulation is like that's a custom figure. It's going to be more expensive than the shit you get, from a toy store.
And I was talking to him. It's like the eyes alone, the way that they were painted, would have taken 4 hours. Just the eyes alone.
Yeah.
Just for the amount of detail.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I don't have anything against people having stuff like that because if you have the money, you should be able to buy it.
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah.
I mean, I
appreciate that stuff. I can't afford it, but
well, I mean,
there's
shit I can't afford that I'm just not going to get because I know I'm not going to have the time to really appreciate it. Like, I could get into the model train hobby, but it's so expensive, and I don't have the space to set up a diorama, a track, and all that stuff, and I don't have the time to devote to building it.
That even the games that are devoted to trains, they're expensive as heck.
Yeah, they're expensive. Most simulation games are expensive. Like, I don't know why people don't understand that. Like, Sims are really fucking expensive. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're live with another episode of BS Busters. I'm glad everyone could be here with us. Before we go any further, let's have everyone introduce themselves, and then we'll dive into these topics. We have a few lesser topics than usual, but, the other stuff that I could have covered, we'll save for Saturday. So let's start with the lady first, then the gentleman, and then myself, and then we'll dive into it.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, to the BS Busters Midweek Podcast. I'm Joe Wright, Eli Moonstar, and get ready to equip your best gear and send your best units into battle. We're going RPGs this round.
Yep. Kenoshi?
It's Kenoshi Abominito, here to glad to be on another one of these BS Busters. And Sony's PlayStation state of play wasn't the worst state of play, but
no, for them it was like an A. For anyone else, it would be like a C+. Because normally Sony state of plays are like an F. So you have to grade on a curve because normally Sony state of plays are terrible. It's like y'all could have just stayed home and this could have just been a press release. And it's Mr. Red Fox on a proprietor BS Busters. We have some pretty good topics for tonight. We've got Sony State of Play, which just kind of popped in there. We're going to talk about Babylon Fall's failure, because it's basically, you think Square Enix would learn their lesson. This is the third time they've tried to do a games as a service, and it failed. And this time they dragged Platinum Game Studios' name into the mud with them, on top of that. And finally, we'll also cover Western AAA developers getting salty about Elden Ring.
I was about to say, how salty are we talking about?
Take a bucket of Atlantic Ocean water and then let it dry out. Because the Atlantic Ocean is saltier than the Pacific Ocean, because the Atlantic Ocean is bigger. I mean, is smaller, so it's more concentrated. There's very salty.
Sodium loaded.
They're very, very salty, and they're trying to frame it like constructive criticism, but it comes across as like sour grapes. Because the complaints that the people are saying, the UI sucks, and the storytelling isn't very good. And I'm like,
the storytelling, I have to look at them cross-eyed. Like, are you serious?
I'm like,
have you ever played a Metroid Prime game where the story is kind of dulled out to you through
environmental? It's environmental storytelling. Like, you're not told anything in Metroid Prime. Everything you learn in Metroid Prime, you learn by scanning things and putting together clues in the environment.
Yeah.
Like, case in point, right? The first time you go in, like, Metroid Prime 1 and 2 did this, but it wasn't perfected. But a Metroid Prime game that does this to perfection, in my opinion, is Metroid Prime 3, where, like, you can, like the first planet you go to, BO, the planet that's like filled with the remains of the lizard civilization, the lizard people civilization. And you find out that their civilization fell apart years ago, and the creatures you're fighting are like the remnants of like a fallen civilization. And like you see where Rundis has the Phazon enhancement device, has the Phazon's taken him over. He's just fucking murdering the shit out of everybody in front of him. And it's like, God damn, he's lost his damn mind. And you don't see this. You don't see him actually killing these creatures. You see where he was attacked by these creatures.
You see the carnage he left behind.
Yeah, you see where he was attacked. And you see the evidence of how he went into Phazon enhancement mode and the phase took him over. And he's basically murdering the shit out of like pirates, the natives. Like, he doesn't give a fuck. And it's like you're not shown this. You're not told this. You're shown it through environmental storytelling. So and that's kind of like how Elden Ring is. It's a lot of environmental storytelling where it's like, okay, this is what happened, but we're not going to tell you about it. You're going to have to just investigate it, which I like. I like games that don't always hold your hand. Well, go here and press this button. Or don't.
I mean, there's a bit of a limit to how much, how little storytelling you could give, but if anything, that's a different problem entirely.
I mean, there is a story in Elden Ring. It's just not. You're not led to it. You're not.
I get you. I was saying that there's a limit to telling too much and telling too little.
I agree, but yeah. So we'll cover that. But first, before we go any further, I'm changing when I drop the plugs for the channel. Don't forget to rate, comment, share, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you can continue to be notified when we're about to go live. Just wanted to get that out the way. Now we can dive back into the.
I was about to say,
topics.
Did you shill hard enough?
I have to. I know.
I was asking because if anything, I know it's a requirement for YouTube.
Well, not just that, but it's I got some really good advice for the channel, and I was like, you know what, I'm really not pushing the channel enough, so I was like, I'll try harder. So anyway, that out the way, let's dive into it. I guess we'll start with Babylon Fall first, since It's the first topic up there. So Babylon's Fall was a game that was it was developed by Platinum Studios, but it was under commission from Square Enix, and
How is that fair?
it turned out to be a mediocre game, a less than mediocre game. It doesn't have the combat ability that most people expect from a Platinum game, and it's like I'll be honest with you, I was one of those people when Babylon's Fall was first announced. I was like, man, this could be awesome, and then I found out that it was a live service game, and I was like, yeah, I don't care.
F this SML.
No,
Right?
I never stepped in the first place. I was like, well, I like it looked interesting because they said it was Platinum Games, and Platinum Games always like more often than not with Platinum Games, you're going to get a good like even if the game kind of sucks, you're going to get good combat.
Yeah, they showed that game 2018, 2019, and then they showed it again a couple of years later, and I was like, oh man, what happened? This game looks like trash.
Well, I mean, it wasn't even the graphics because most Platinum games don't look great. Like they aren't like graphical tour de forces. But I mean, you know, the combat's going to be pretty good. Like even the quote unquote bad Platinum games are really like the combat's great. Like that Transformers game, combat is fucking amazing in that Platinum Games Transformers game. Like the TMNT game that they made under Activision. Like it's a shallow game, but the combat's really good. Like I would say only the Legend of Korra had shitty combat. And that's just because like Legend of Korra's combat doesn't like Legend of Korra and Babylon's Fall share a lot of the same DNA in the combat for those games doesn't get good until you're damn near in the last 90% of the game and you've unlocked all your abilities. And like that's just not fun.
I was about to say they locked the good stuff behind the last tenth of the game.
Yeah, the last little because basically from people that you know I trust, who like my friend who reviews tech and games and shit for the Post, he's like, I'll be honest with you, in other tech magazines, he's like Babylon's Fall in the beginning isn't great, but by the end of the game, once you unlock the abilities to specialize your character and stuff, the combat system, you're like it's what you expect from Platinum, but you have to slog through all this bullshit to get to the good stuff. You know, and that's not fun.
I was about to say that's kind of almost as bad as Final Hallway 13.
No, it's not that bad. It's not as bad as that. That Final Fantasy 13 has like it has more issues than the game only opening up in the last third act of the game. There's like some core design issues that are wrong with that game. Aside from that, this game is one of those games where you can tell that Square Enix probably went in and told Platinum Games to dumb down this game so that anyone could get into it. Because Platinum Games, one of the issues with Platinum Games is that their game's difficulty curve, like if you don't get with the program with a Platinum game within the first 30 minutes of the game, you're not going to have fun with it for the rest of the game.
Oof.
You know, like Wonderful 101. Go play Wonderful 101. If you haven't started to get a handle on the gameplay concepts in the first 30 minutes of that game, you ain't after the first 30 minutes, if you haven't gotten comfortable with how to play, how to fight, how to dodge, the movement, like all that type of stuff, parry, if you haven't gotten the base concepts down in the first 30 minutes of that game, you're not going to have a great experience after those 30 minutes. Because it's going to be like you're going to feel like the game's punishing you. And, you know, Platinum Games has issues with their difficulty curves. Because they make their games it's like Platinum Games make their games like people back in the NES days did, where the developers are like, I've been playtesting this game for 6 months, and I know every little in and out about it. So even the easiest easy mode is too easy for me. So what they consider normal is hard for everyone else. That's how Platinum makes their games. Unfortunately. You guys have any thoughts on it?
I'm just shaking my head here because if the platinum that we know is only behind the last tenth of the game,
yeah,
well, that kind of ruins what platinum is usually known for. I'm gonna feel sorry for them for that one.
I mean, the thing is, like, no one's going to, like, most gamers are not going to slog through a game that only gets good in the last 10-15% of the game. They're not going to do that. Like, they're just, like, most gamers don't have that type of patience. Only gamers who are used to punishing levels of difficulty or monotony are willing to do that. And most gamers these days aren't. Because think about how most Western developed games are developed today. Everything is instant gratification. You know?
Yeah.
Everything is, I want it now. Like, I'll give you the perfect example, right? Fallout 3 versus Fallout 4. Both games made by Bethesda. In Fallout 3, if you want to get the ability to use power armor and use like a mini chain gun, you basically have to, first of all, you have to find a faction that can teach you how to use power armor because it's a perk that you have to learn. You can't just level it up. And you have to have your skills up high enough to where you can actually use a mini chain gun. And so by the time you get those abilities, you've put at least 30, 40 hours into the game. If you're playing it normally. If you know exactly what you have to do, you can do it in maybe 10. But you have to invest time in order to get those really powerful abilities. Now, Fallout 4, in the first 30 minutes of the game, you're given power armor and a mini chain gun to fight a Deathclaw, one of the toughest enemies in Fallout.
And and with all that power, you're able to win with virtually no effort.
Yeah. So Western development is all about rewarding the player, whereas Japanese game development is about you earn shit. It's punishing to earn it. It's a different philosophy in how they develop their games. You know. But, Kanoji, you have any thoughts?
About Platinum?
Yep. And Babylon Falls.
Babylon Fall, it's sad that game, it looked like it could have been something more, but Square's like, we need that live. You already have a live service game. It's called Final Fantasy 14. That's doing pretty good.
Yeah, but they want more.
Why do you need another one?
Because they want more.
More. Oh God, I'm sorry I used that Star Wars reference.
I want it.
Yeah,
now.
I don't.
It's like that song by Queen. I want it now. I want it now. I want it now. I want it all. Like, they want it now and they want it all.
I thought it was I want it all.
Yeah.
And I want it now.
I want it now. They want it all and they want it right now. Okay. They don't want to put in the work.
Yeah.
They want it right now. And you'd think they would have learned, because they tried to do this shit with Outriders. They tried to do it with Marvel's Avengers. And now they try to do it with Babylon Falls. People are already getting tired of this live service shit.
Yeah.
The worst of it is
game people want to play. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
Make a game people want to play. Keep your budgets under control.
Yeah. But they aren't even doing live service right either. Most of these companies. But, oh well. Speaking of companies messing up, this is not a good segue. Sony State of Play.
Oh boy.
Sony's State of Play was interesting. They showed off a lot of stuff. Some people might not like it. I understand that. I personally thought it was kind of cool, but you know, what do I know? I'm just some guy. So let me look it up. Sony State of Play. State of Play. Sadly, I got to go to IGN. Okay, well, I mean, the thing is, if I go to Sony's website, their page glitches out on me. Like if I try to watch an embedded video, it keeps on resetting everything. So I think it's just an issue with maybe my browser. I don't know. Because I quit using Google Chrome for a lot of stuff because they disabled ad block, and I don't like ads when I'm browsing.
Yeah.
Anyway, they showed Exo Primal, which the premise looks cool. Like you have a group of people fighting dinosaurs in mechs. Unfortunately, it looks like a standard dude bro affair. So, you know, unfortunately, I thought this was going to be a new Dino Crisis, which would have been awesome. Or like Cadillacs and dinosaurs, but this thing looks like it's not PvP, it's PvE, but teams get scored for how many dinosaurs they kill. So it's an online multiplayer game. But it's not an old IP brought back. So people are unhappy with it.
Why am I not surprised?
At least some people are happy with it. So there you go. It's a brand new IP from Capcom. You guys have any thoughts on Exo Primal?
Exo Primal. Not bad. At least to me, but
I guess it looks okay. Hopefully it's decent.
Yeah. I mean, I hope it does well because I'm tired of seeing new IPs come out and then fail harder than a fat kid belly flopping in a pool. Ghostwire Tokyo, we already knew about this game. They just showed more of it. It's a horror-infused open-world adventure. I might get this on PC.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not about it. I mean, it looks interesting, but it looks kind of like it looks kind of it looks like it's kind of a mess.
It looks like it's all over the place. It looks like it's all over the place. But sometimes that can work.
Even if it is a mess, hopefully it's a fun mess.
Yeah, like some games that are all over the place can work. Like Saints Row 3 and 4 were all over the place, but they were fun. So it was like, yeah, okay. If this game can be fun and all over the place, I'll get it. It comes out March 25th, so...
What about that one woman? Was she like fired for something, or did she leave?
Yeah, well, she was the director of Ghostwire Tokyo, and it was supposed to be published by Bethesda, and Bethesda like got mad or something. I don't know. It's Bethesda, man. It's Bethesda. Like here's the thing. Normally, I'd be like, well, I can understand, but Bethesda has kept. Bethesda is still working on Fallout 76, and that game came out as a buggy piece of shit. So.
Well, why did they get mad? Was it not?
I don't know. I just know that they fired her. I just know that they fired her. That's all I know. But typically speaking, when people get dismissed like that, and before a project is finished, there was something going on. Yeah, there was something going on. It wasn't amicable. I don't think. So I don't know. But like I said, it's Bethesda, and I don't trust them because. I mean, they've kept Todd Howard around for years, and he's helped run a lot of their IPs into the ground. So, I don't know. Yeah, I know they made money, but the quality of the games has been going down.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, I don't know. But it looks interesting. It looks like a open world. It looks like an open world Japanese Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Where they're fighting yokai and shit. So, if you're into Japanese culture, this might scratch your itch. I don't know.
Is yokai the Japanese word for ghost or something?
It basically means ghost spirit, monster spirit. It's just a fancy word for saying a ghoul, a goblin, a monster. It's a Japanese version of that word. It's like a catch-all term, like, oh, there be beasties in the woods. That can include monsters, boglins, goblins, all types of shit. Then Stranger of Paradise, which is taking the Dark Souls formula and applying it to a retelling of the first Final Fantasy game. So,
yeah, I'm not feeling that game either.
Yeah, I'm like Naruto. I'm not feeling it.
Fantasy.
I'm not feeling it.
It's like Dark Souls meets Final Fantasy. I don't know. I think you're probably better off creating a
new IP,
creating a Final Fantasy spin-off if you were going to do something like that.
Yeah, that would have been better. But I mean, the only thing that Square Enix has the only two IPs they have that they know are guaranteed to make them money is Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. Everything else sometimes will flop. Like, and they're surprised that their Western games, like for them, Guardians of the Galaxy underperformed for them, and I'm like, that game was a sleeper hit. It underperformed. I'm like, what the fuck? What did you expect that game to sell? Game.
Like, I mean, it was jank. I mean, it's a bit of a janky game, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, but how much did they expect that? Like, how much does a Western studio game have to sell in order for it to be considered a success? Is my question. Yeah. Because, like, Guardians of the Galaxy is still a relatively unpopular, like, they aren't the most popular Marvel IP. Like, I'd say the number one is Spider-Man, maybe followed by the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Avengers. And then maybe the Fantastic Four. And then maybe Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like, I'm like, I don't, like, I mean, for them to use such we haven't had a new Guardians of the Galaxy movie in years, right? Because for most people, that's their only exposure to the Guardians of the Galaxy are the movies. Yeah. So I'm like, how much did they expect this shit to sell? Is my question. I'm like, what?
I expect it to sell 10 trillion units. That's what they need to sell.
1 million units.
Sir, there's not even 10 trillion people on the planet. How's that going to be? Well, they'll buy 2, 3, 4, 5 copies because it'll be that good.
Everyone will buy like 100 copies. Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of like, it was like, I don't, because they did the same thing. They did the same thing with Deus Ex, and like, no, they did the same thing with fucking those 2 Tomb Raider games, the Tomb Raider reboots. They're like, well, they underperformed. They sold over 5 million units each. How is that underperformed for an IP that hadn't had a new game in like 10 years?
Yeah, that's during the time when everybody's like, "Oh, Nintendo's in trouble. The Wii U ain't doing well." It's like, why ain't you guys talking about AAA? It's like these they're these AAA companies, they'll sell like 10 million units of games. It's like, well,
it underperformed.
Didn't do good enough.
It underperformed. It underperformed. Like, I mean, if I had a product and it sold, and if I had a product and I'm selling it at $60 a pop, and before I reduce the price, it sells 3 million. That is, let me get my calculator out, because unfortunately, math is not my strongest point. I will admit it. And do the calculations. If you have a $60 game, right? You multiply that times 3 million.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You made, let's see, you made $180 million.
Yeah.
Okay, you made $180 million. That's just revenue generated. We haven't gotten into. So let's say you take away. Let's say you take away a third of that in let's say you take away a third of that. Right? So you still have $120 million that you made off of a game that, that you probably, and if you kept your production costs low, you made your money back. It made money. Like I don't get it. I don't get why they're like, yeah, this was a failure. Like, how much are you spending to make your games?
I know they made a a lot of these companies spend $200, $300, $400, $500 million for development. I'm sure that includes marketing and
say it with me now. Let's quote Reggie.
Not my problem.
Not my problem.
Not my problem. Yep.
That's not my problem. I don't care who you are. Nintendo, Sony, Sega, Microsoft, AAA, AA, single A, indie. How much you spend to make your game? Not my problem. Like my responsibility as a consumer ends once I buy the game. Once I buy the game, our contract is done.
Yeah.
Okay. Now if I own the company, then yeah, we need to price our stuff out properly and et cetera, et cetera. But if that's not the case, then that's not my problem. I mean, because think about it. Like a lot of gamers think that it's our jobs to uphold these companies' honor and shit. It's like, it's a business. If they don't know how to run their business, that's not my problem. It's like no other product would have. Like no one goes into a store and sees Coca-Cola on sale, or Pepsi on sale, or juice on sale, and say, "Man, I wonder how they're going to be able to make money on that sale." No, you're like, "Hey, this is going to cost me less. I'm going to get it because it's on sale." Right? Now thinking, I wonder how Coca-Cola is going to make money off of this. I'm going to be like, look, fuck them. I'm getting this deal. I ain't got time to be worrying about other people. Shit. I'm trying to get my shit together. But yeah. So getting back to Sony's State of Play, Strangers of Paradise looked generic as fuck. Like I'm not interested in it. Like I would rather them do a remake of Final Fantasy 1 and like maybe like add more depth to it. Like maybe add different gendered characters, because in Final Fantasy 1, the only kind of sort of female character you might think was female is the white mage, and that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe add more storyline beats, maybe more quests and shit. That'd be interesting. But no, we'll take that concept and turn it into a Dark Souls game. I'm like, why? I mean, come on, man. Then they showed Forspoken, which the big thing is that you have a female protagonist who is also a person of color, which is cool. It was delayed from May 25th to October 11th, which tells me they probably have a bug issue that they have to go back and rewrite some code for. But it looks cool. Gundam Evolution. It's a free-to-play game, 6 versus 6, first-person shooter, where instead of you fighting as dude bros, you fight as young teenage kids who somehow miraculously, with no training, can get inside of mechs and blow people up with I'm being facetious. You're probably playing as the highly trained troops of the colony and Xeon and Earth and all that shit. But they might add hero characters where it's like if you kill enough enemies, you can call out like a hero character to help you out. So if you're the Republic of Xeon, you can call Char. If you're Earth, you can call Emerald Ray. Shit like that. Get him, Emerald Ray. Get him. I need help. Please help me. He's kicking our ass. with their Zakus. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about this?
I'm not totally.
It looks like shit.
I'm not deterred, but I'm not impressed.
So you'd say you're perfectly. The proper word would be meh.
Yeah.
You're underwhelmed, as it were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I'm kind of. I mean, I'm not saying I'm completely underwhelmed, but I'm just like. I mean, it could be good. Now we're on to something that made me happy, put a smile on my face. The newly announced Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collection features 13 classic TMNT games. That's right, 13. The Cowabunga collection, and you're getting for $29.99, or is it for $39.99? You're getting TMNT, the arcade game, TMNT Turtles in Time, the arcade game, TMNT, the NES game that sucks, but you're getting it. TMNT 2, the arcade game for the NES. TMNT 3, the Manhattan Project for the NES. You're getting TMNT Tournament Fighters for the NES, which sucks, but you're getting it. You're getting TMNT 4, Turtles in Time for the Super NES. TMNT Tournament Fighters for the Super NES, which is good. Hyperstone Heist for the Sega Genesis, which is also good. Tournament Fighters for the Sega Genesis, which sucks. Follow the Foot Clan, which isn't that good. Back from the Sewers, which is good. And Radical Rescue, which is also good. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You get 13 games, and 1, 2, 3. 3 of them are good. So, you know, I mean, 3 of them are bad. The rest of them are pretty good. So, I mean, it's, you know, $40 for 13 games. That's roughly, get my calculations correct. That's roughly, let's see,
You're at least getting
40 divided into 13. Oh, that's roughly around $3 per game.
Yeah, I was gonna say at least nearly $2 per, right?
A little over. No, it's around 3. Well, really, it's 3.07. And then off into decimal points after that. But really, it's around. Like you get around. It's around. Let's say $3.08. It's $3.08 per game. I mean, that's a good deal. And some of those games are really rare. Like if you want to get a TMNT Turtles in Time for the SNES physical, that game's hundreds of dollars. So I mean, it's already worth it just for that one. And not that god awful Ubisoft remake. Ugh. So, your guys' thoughts on this?
Definitely pick it up.
It's looking good so far.
All right. Okay.
So I'd be gaming a little.
Turn into Denzel Washington. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
You're lying.
Well, I don't have the dude's looks, but I can definitely do a Denzel Washington from Training Day. Y'all ain't got shit on me. I'll put all y'all into Pelican Bay. I'm drawing cases up on all y'all. Anyway, if you guys get a chance to watch Training Day, it's really good. Really good. Denzel Washington definitely deserved to get an Oscar for that, even though he plays an outright fucking villain. Anyway, going back to State of Play, yeah, I mean, there was some, I mean, the TMNT game looks awesome. Giga Bash looked great. You know what Giga Bash reminded me of?
What?
It reminded me of a modern take on a game that used to be. It came from SNK back in the day on the SNES. I think it was also on the Genesis. King of the Monsters. Which itself was like King of the Monsters came about because SNK wanted to make a Godzilla Monster Brawl game, but they couldn't get the rights, so they just made their own generic monsters to fight each other. It was a pretty big hit in the arcades, though. So, Giga Bash looks cool. It's coming to everything. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fighting game, Battle R. It's a remake of JoJo's All-Star Battle. What do you guys think about this?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never been a huge fan of that art style. Just doesn't do it for me. I don't like the JoJo Adventures art style.
I mean, the thing is, I like the art style, but only when it's done in Fist of the North Star, because in Fist of the North Star's hyper exaggerated art style, like hyper exaggerated realistic art style, works because you know that when the people fight, someone's head's gonna explode or they're gonna get sliced into pieces. It's gonna be bloody.
Yeah.
Where in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, it's like, man, that dude just hit that guy like 1,000 times in the face, and the guy just
why
fell
did
down.
he blow up?
Yeah, it didn't blow up. Like, I'm not, like it works when Kenshiro's like walking away. The guy's like, "Come back here! You're already dead. I hit 13 of your pressure points. You have 3 seconds to live. Come back here!" It's like it works in Fist of the North Star. It doesn't work in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah.
Like unless I see people's heads exploding for no reason, because the character hit like 13 of their pressure points and caused their body to explode, then it just doesn't really work. In my humble opinion, I know some people will disagree, but I don't care. So, I mean, we can all agree that we aren't really excited about JoJo's All-Star Battle R.
I was about to say it's more like a meh thing.
All right. Yeah, it's kind of a show I kind of would want to get into, but the art style just, like I said, doesn't. The game too just doesn't do it. Just doesn't do it for me.
All right. Trek to Yomi is the next game. It's basically a samurai epic where you play as this samurai wandering around and fucking people up, and it's in black and white, which makes it look like you're playing in a Akira Kurosawa film. It looks great. But then again, I'm a sucker for
certain movies.
Yeah, I'm an Akira Kurosawa fan, so I like shit like this.
Yeah, that's probably what they were. It seemed like that's what they were going for with like one of those old samurai movies.
Yeah. Like I'm like, man, if only this came on PC, you could mod in Toshiro Mifune from Yojimbo and Senjuro as the main character. It would be perfect. It's like, hey, man. It's Yojimbo the video game. It looks kind of cool. It's M rated with blood and gore, but it's in black and white. I mean, the most shocking thing that happened in the Yojimbo is the titular main character cuts off a guy's hand and a dog comes in and bites the hand and runs off with it.
I was about to say, that's teabagging evil right there.
Not really. They were fucking with him. They shouldn't have been fucking with him. I mean, I think.
Thing is, I kind of wish the blood and stuff was red, just like in some of it's black and white comic books with red, where the blood is still red.
I can see that.
They're like the flames were still orange or something, like the more
some color.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I know what they're. Yeah, I know what they're going for. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get what they're going for. It's just a nitpick. It doesn't really bother me either way.
Yeah, I get it. It still looks good though. I like the stylistic choices they made. So Returnal is getting a huge free update this month. Where they're adding
good, but not $570 good.
Well, I mean, yeah. The thing is the problem with the Ascension update is that they put a expansion in a state of play thing, and I'm like, why the fuck? Like this, if you're just talking about expansion, it shouldn't be in a thing. And this is for anyone. This is
Yeah, it should be a
Sony.
press.
Like, I don't think Nintendo should have had a thing in their thing talking about an expansion to Mario Kart 8 because I'm like, that should be its own
That's a
separate
press.
thing. That should not be like
Press release, a
yeah,
trailer
yeah,
/ press release.
yeah. Like, I'm sorry. I don't think expansion should be like that. That's me. Unless it's something that's majorly game changing. So I guess then Nintendo kind of gets a pass because, adding 45 new tracks is huge. Then they showed Dio Field Chronicle, which looks kind of interesting. It looks like it looks like someone cribbed a lot of notes from Fire Emblem and said, "Man, what if we took out the grids and made it so that like it was more freeform?" It looks interesting. Like every time Square Enix does some shit where I'm like, "Man, you fucking up." They come out with something that looks really good, and I'm like, "I might get this." What were we gonna say, Kenoshi?
Yeah, that did look like. I was like, man, we got some heavy Fire Emblem vibes from this.
Yeah. Either that or someone in the same publisher went over to Triangle Strategy because this game has a lot of the same vibes as Triangle Strategy. Oh, you have two massive powers and one kingdom between the two of them that is somehow caught between the bullshit, and they must use their strength of arms to stay alive. It's like, come on, man. This is a lot of.
I was about to say that's cheesy.
No, it's because it's got a lot of the same story beats as Triangle Strategy, except Triangle Strategy is like a homage to like Final Fantasy Tactics and Tactics Ogre, which is the sequel to to Ogre Battles, Ogre Battle on the SNES, March of the Black Queen. Whereas this game is looks like it's taking a page from a game. I remember I had this game on the GameCube, but I can't remember the title. It was. It had a battle system like Advance Wars for the GameCube and the Wii, where you didn't have a grid, you had areas that you could move, and then once you did all your action points and stopped moving, then it was your other unit's turn until it was the enemy's turn. But it wasn't grid-based combat, but it was like that. Like, this game seems to be like that. And I appreciate that they're doing something new. With this, because just for me personally, I'm getting tired of fighting on grids in these tactical games. It's like you guys gotta do something new. But that's my own personal opinion. Valkyrie Elysium. So instead of a new Valkyrie profile, we haven't gotten a new game since the PS2. They decided to make a hack and slash 'em up.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've never played the Valkyrie Chronicle games, but
they're RPGs.
Yeah, I know they made one for the. I know they made a couple for the PS2.
Yeah.
Then they made a couple for the PSP. I think those were remakes or
ports,
side games or something.
Down ports or something. Side ports. I don't know.
How do those games stack up to other Square Enix or / Squaresoft games?
I mean, they're the lesser RPGs of Square Enix. Like really, the top of the dog, the top dogs in Square Enix's lineup of RPGs is Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy. Then below that, you've got like the Saga franchise and Xenogears, stuff like that. What was that? Xenogears. And then below that, you've got like not Xenogears. Xenogears is Bandai Namco. like the Saga series, and then and the Mana series, and then below that you've got like this stuff like this. Like it's not terrible, but it's not. It never had the
Not the
market
best, right?
Well, it never had the market penetration of Final Fantasy.
Ah,
Like it, like everyone, like okay, Final Fantasy has become a household name. Dragon Quest less so, but it's still a household name. Valkyrie Profile was like for those people who were ultra nerds who were tired of Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy, and they wanted something different, and that's Valkyrie Profile. I remember seeing it when I would go to gaming stores like Electronic Boutique back in the day, or KB stuff like that, and I'm like, oh, this looks great, and I'm like, but I was always playing something else because I played tons of RPGs back in the day, and like once you get into one RPG, it's really hard to go back to another. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
RPG preferences.
No, it's because RPGs are so time intensive. It's like you can't like okay, you can juggle multiple 2D platformers, you can juggle multiple 3D platformers, you can juggle multiple puzzle games, but when it comes to JRPGs, you can only really juggle like one or two. Like you're not going to be able like if you're playing like if I'm playing like right now I'm trying to get back into um Persona 5 Royal, and I have it on the PS4. And like that game has over 100 plus hours of content. So if I picked up another 100 plus hour JRPG, I would not have time to devote to either of those games in a decent way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
just it's just one of those things. Like you can't you got to pick a JRPG and then just stick with it until you finish it. Like you can't be going back and forth. Let me play this over here. I'll do the best I can, but I can't. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Anything else anything else you guys want to say about Valkyrie Profile before we move on to the main topic?
I think we said plenty. Unless you got something.
No, I mean it looks kind of fun to play, but I'm just gonna have to wait till see more of the game.
Okay.
Or wait for reviews or whatever. Probably I might pick it up on a sale.
Yeah, the things that really the overall thing that I saw that made sense to me about Sony's State of Play is that most of the things that really looked interesting to me were the like mid-tier AAA games.
Yeah.
Like not the not the mid-tier AAA, like the smaller stuff was interesting to me. Like I really didn't care about the the big stuff.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. How's it going, Eric Maverick? Yeah, I pity Platinum Games too. Because they are, like, Platinum Games is always one or two games from going broke and shuttering. And the day Platinum Games shutters is the day that we lose a lot of quality, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's keep it moving. To our main topic, which is what IP would we use to create our ultimate RPG game? Initially I was going to say pick an RPG franchise, but but it could be anything. You could do like a Final Fight RPG, a Mario RPG, whatever you want. Just how would you what unique hook would you use to create it, and how would you spin it off to work? Like what would be your cool like little thing that would work for you? So who wants to go first?
Probably maybe in weird, but trying to see a fighting game like Street Fighter or Guilty Gear go into the RPG section and try and going with the crazy powers to, as it were, try to reward high offensive plays with tactical combinations, how like how the X like how the Capcom X games usually do.
You mean the
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Capcom cross Bandai cross Sega stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. Except those games initially, like the first two games on the PS1 and PS2 were they were um they were like grid-based tactical games. And then later on they made the series into like that fantastically over the top button combination, like press buttons at the right time to do these like insane combos and shit. I like them though. I agree with you. That seems like that'd be cool. Anything else you'd like to go with it?
Um. Basically, I would probably want to see how. I probably want to see how the backyard would go, or maybe sure, or maybe go into some weird surprise fights to spice things up.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Kanoshi, I mean, are you finished? Or do you have anything else you'd like to add to that particular? Nothing. Okay, Kanoshi.
I'm gonna go with same thing with Street Fighter RPG, except it'd be like a 2D RPG. You have a party system, so it'd use like the tag system, like you find in, say, Marvel versus Capcom, and and when you hit an enemy, you'd go into sort of like a group of enemies. You would go into like a 2D fighting screen where you have to no certain combos, and you can customize combos depending on characters, so you can have different abilities for different elemental enemies and whatnot, different move sets to take down certain enemies, uh, something like that.
I'd be cool with that. That sounds cool. That sounds really cool. Um, that sounds really interesting. Because the Street Fighter universe, like, it's already been kind of proven that the Street Fighter universe takes place in the same universe as Final Fight. So you could have Final Fight characters, which also takes place in the same universe as Captain Commando. So you could have like futuristic tech from like Captain Commando, so it's like cyborgs and shit. Um, and I think that also means it also takes place in the same universe as Darkstalkers. So you could have Darkstalker stuff too. That's
Take
Yeah.
that
insane.
as you will.
And that would be cool. I would be okay with that. But that's my own personal opinion. I know some people will disagree with me on that because everyone has an opinion. Y'all gonna hate me for this. Kingdom Hearts with Nintendo themed worlds. Sora's inclusion in Smash gave me a taste, and I want more of it.
Your mileage is gonna vary there.
I hate Kingdom Hearts. Should Platinum be acquired? Yeah, Eric, they should. Like, everyone says Nintendo needs to buy this studio, buy that studio. If there's two studios I think Nintendo should have bought before they went under, Alpha Dream and Platinum Games. Like, they should totally buy those two studios. Or they should have bought Alpha Dream, and they should have bought Platinum. I mean, they should buy Platinum. Because, I mean, Platinum basically makes all their shit. Like, Platinum made Bayonetta 2 for Nintendo. They made Bayonetta 3 for Nintendo. They did Star Fox Zero, which I know some people will be like, Star Fox Zero sucked. Star Fox Zero didn't suck. Star Fox Zero was like a good idea, but it had some good ideas in there, but the overall like design of it honed, like it felt like I was playing a refined version of Star Fox 64. And it's like Star Fox 64 was fine for like 1998 or 99 when it came out. But gaming has gone so much further. Like, why are we still honing to this old ass game design for a flight? Because basically, like, Star Fox at its core is a like arcade, like sci-fi space ship shooter. Like, why are we still trying to hone to a 64 megabit cartridge design philosophy for this game? Like, you have all this technology, move forward with it. You know, like if someone came out with it would be the equivalent of someone coming out with a car now, an electric car now that uses wet batteries instead of like lithium ions or the new lithiums that they have now. It's like technology has moved so far. Why are you using that old shit? Or someone coming out with a gas powered car now that uses diesel.
It's oxymoronic.
It just doesn't make any sense. It's like, come on. Or if you bought a modern big refrigerator now and it didn't have an ice machine in it, you'd be like, what? You don't make ice? Ugh. It's like a standard thing now, you know? Yeah, methinks Platinum will work under Nintendo's umbrella. Bayo's practically a Nintendo IP now. Nintendo should just buy it instead of licensing it away from Sega. They should just buy Bayonetta and make it exclusive. Like, I don't know why they keep on, like, pussyfooting around. And it's not like Nintendo doesn't have the money, because Nintendo owns 30% of the Pokemon Company, and the Pokemon Company has one of the most valuable IPs in the industry. So, I mean, you know, Nintendo's got the money to go on an acquisition spree. Not Microsoft level acquisition sprees, but they could buy Bayonetta. Like, Sega gives a shit about Bayonetta. They don't. Nintendo had to pay to get. No, go ahead.
Yeah, it was a flop on the other consoles.
Well, it did okay. It just didn't. It cracked over 1 million. It did okay. It just wasn't like gangbusters. But Bayonetta 2, they didn't even want to make Bayonetta 2 because it didn't make enough money the first time around, and Nintendo paid for that game to get made, and it was a Wii U exclusive. So I don't know why. I don't know why Sega's holding on to that fucking IP because they ain't doing shit with it. You know, this goes back to my unpopular opinion from from last week, which is, you know, if you're sitting on an IP and you're not doing shit with it, either make a game in that IP or give it up. Don't just be sitting on shit for years and years and years and don't do shit with it. Because it's just languishing away. It's just sitting there and nothing's being done. You know? But I guess it's my turn. My ultimate RPG game that would just really just kind of knock my socks off was I would like to see a Paper Wario game.
A Paper Wario game.
Yes, a Paper Wario game. Imagine this. A Wario game where we take the events from the Wario Land series, where Wario starts out by by taking over this island, and then Mario kicks his ass and gets the island himself. Then Wario basically goes on an adventure to get this giant statue that Captain Syrup stole of Princess Peach. And he does all the work, and then Mario comes at the last second and steals back the statue, and Wario's like, fuck! But all the treasures he stole along his way to get the statue, to get the from Captain Syrup that she plundered, he cashes them all in to pay the genie money to grant him a wish, which in turn uh, 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 which in turn got Wario his castle. And so after that, Captain Syrup goes back for revenge, and steals, kicks him out of his castle, sabotages it, leaves the water running in the basement that floods the castle. Like, just all types of terrible shit. But he eventually goes back and steals her other treasure that she had hidden away and gets all his shit back. A Paper Zelda game, Eric Maverick? Yeah, I'd like a Paper Zelda game. A Paper Zelda game would be fucking awesome. But imagine if you did a Paper Wario game where Wario is he's had, like, every Wario Land game or Wario World game has Wario getting all his shit stolen. So finally, the premise of the game is that Wario's finally had enough, and he's watching TV late at night, and there comes on this mysterious channel that says, "Hey, do you have valuables that you don't want people to steal? Are you tired of worrying that your valuables could be stolen? Well, store your valuables at our ultra secure, galactic super mega bank." And it turns out that the ultra secure, ultra super mega bank is actually just a front for these space pirates who go from place to place, stealing the treasures of different planets and then going someplace else and pulling their scams again. So Wario falls for it hook, line, and sinker because he's a greedy fat bastard. And
I'm not surprised there.
And he stashes all of his treasure at the bank, and he's like, "Yeah, and I'll be able to visit my treasure anytime I want." They're like, "Sure, whatever you want." This dumbass. It's like, and so, like, later on that night, he gets the hankering to look at his treasures, and so he breaks back into the bank and discovers that he's been hoodwinked, he's been had, and they're yeah, he's been suckered. And not only that, but he's caught, and the police come and throw his ass in jail for breaking into a bank to see his own shit. And so that's where the game begins proper, where Wario is in jail, and he has to break out. Meanwhile, also in jail are other characters who you can eventually recruit to be your party members, Paper Mario style. Including a Captain Syrup, who is also in jail. She's in the women's side of the prison. And so they have to basically, the game is like, your typical Paper Mario game. The good classical Paper Mario games, like, not that new shit they've been doing. The old shit. You have party members, they have their own skills, you can level up their skills, power them up by finding MacGuffins in the world or completing storyline chain quests, stuff like that. And eventually, it culminates with Wario fighting his way into this bank to steal his shit back, and discovering that, like, the end of the game would be very open-ended, because it'd have Wario stealing his shit back and realizing that, like, they kick the pirates' ass, but they discover, hey, we kicked their ass and we threw them in jail, but we got their ship. We can travel to other planets and steal their shit too. I think that would be cool. It'd be a nice little game that could get people into Wario, because I'm telling you right now, if I see one more fucking WarioWare game, I'm gonna have an apoplexy. I am tired of WarioWare.
I get a laugh seeing people that salted from Wario.
I'm not salty. I'm just like WarioWare is a spin-off of the Wario Land series, and I prefer Wario Land over WarioWare, because WarioWare is just a fucking minigame collection. That's all it is.
And it's not ashamed of it.
No, I'm not against that. I'm just saying that there's other shit. Like, I would rather play, and this is just me, I would rather play, I personally would rather play a, I would just love for them to do a 2D Wario game. Like, that'd be cool to me. Like, I'm tired of the WarioWare games. Not that there's anything inherently wrong with WarioWare. It's just, like, we've gotten way too much WarioWare, very little to none of the traditional 2D Wario games. So at this point, I'm just like I'm getting a little bored of it. I'm getting a little tired of WarioWare because they've inundated the market with WarioWare and nothing else.
Hmm.
So anyway, that's the end of the. That's the end of it. Anything you guys want to bring up before we wrap things up? Yeah, we got finished early tonight.
What do you guys think of the King of Fighters franchise?
Mix.
Go ahead, Jewel.
I said mixed because it seems like it's not bad, but it feels like it's not really moving in a sense to me.
All right. I like the King of Fighters series.
Yeah.
I prefer what like I feel angry. I feel kind of sad that Art of Fighting, that like instead of SNK continue with Art of Fighting, they just stopped after a point and just smashed those characters in the King of Fighters. Um, like that's one of the downsides of King of Fighters to me. I don't like when they sat there and tried to make it 3D. They started trying to take uh, try to take art styles away from like what Capcom did in Street Fighter 4 and 5.
Yeah.
I wish
Yeah.
because SNK was always known for their wonderful pixel cell shading. It was just glorious, and then they just fucked that
Oh yeah,
up.
King of Fighters 13. I think looks absolutely beautiful. That's the only King of Fighters game. I never played it much because that's a super hard game to get into
Yeah,
compared to Street Fighter.
yeah.
And
King of Fighters has always been more, even though it uses less buttons than Street Fighter. It's always been more technical, even though it uses less buttons, which is kind of weird.
yeah. I like the fact that it's technical. I just don't have time to start, learning 150 characters.
Yeah, yeah. I
But,
mean, really, if I would tell anyone if you want to get into King of Fighters or in Art of Fighting or any of SNK's fighting games, but you don't want to be overwhelmed, I'd play say Garo X or King of Fighters 10. Um, that game it doesn't have a huge roster. Each character plays differently, and you can take those skill sets to use those characters into other games and not feel like you're overwhelmed. Um, but that's just me.
yeah.
But anyway, anything else you guys have to say before we move on to any other topics you guys want to bring up before we wrap things up?
I think I'm alright.
I'm good. Well, what do you think of the new King of Fighters, the King of Fighters 15?
What the
I
one
think it
that's
looks
in
better.
3D?
I think it looks better than the last one, but I don't think it looks that much better.
All right, let me look it up because I don't really follow King of Fighters like that. King of Fighters 15. King of Fighters 15 SNK. Let me look it up. Let me look it up. Look it up. Look it up. I mean, they're using 3D characters with cell shading on top of the 3D cells, so that's cool. It looks better than 14. I'll give it that much.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks cool. I mean, it looks like they learned some stuff from Samurai Showdown, the latest Samurai Showdown that kind of brought it back.
Yeah.
I do like some of these. I do like some of these character art models. I'm just not like I'm not really that into 2D fighters these days. But it looks good for what it is.
Yeah.
So, and it has very positive reviews on Steam. So, the people who bought it like it. So, it's got 39 playable characters. It's continuing the story mode from previous installments. So, a lot of Okay. So I'm guessing that the online connection isn't that good.
Oh, suck.
Yeah, I think maybe
Suck.
SNK went cheat with the coding on the
No
back end.
rollback.
Yeah,
No rollback.
yeah. Either that or they just don't have enough servers. Like SNK doesn't
Yeah.
have as much money as they used to, so and they spent a lot of money on a lot of bullshit for many years. Like people don't want to acknowledge that, but
I was going to say that they've done worse, but
the Neo Geo Max, the Neo Geo Mini, like the Neo Geo handheld that was made by this company, that the quality was so poor that SNK had to basically pull the plug on the contract, and the company was like, "We're going to continue to sell." It's like, no, the quality is so bad, you're messing up our brand name, and
Are you talking about the Neo Geo Pocket Color? That system is
No,
pretty
it
nice.
wasn't. It wasn't the Pocket Color. It was
Oh,
basically
okay.
this mini Neo Geo repro, not repro, but it was like this device that basically could play Neo Geo games on it, and like, but the quality of it was so bad, and the quality of the emulation on it was so bad that it
Oh,
was like
I know what you're talking about now.
like
Yeah, I
it
remember.
it hurt the brand. Yeah. And like SNK was like, you can't sell this anymore. You're messing up our brand, dude. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember hearing about that. It was pretty sad. It was I remember hearing about it on Giant Bomb. They were talking about it.
Yeah, like it was like some at game shit. That's how bad it was. It was like the emulation was so bad that it was the equivalent to some at games. Like, okay, I turn this on and it's so bad that it's just like some games were unplayable. It was just one of those things where like, this is not working out. So I know some people are gonna get mad about that, but I don't care. That's my opinion. You have anything else you want to bring up before we wrap things up?
hmm,
Nothing.
I think I'm alright right now.
I'm good.
Oh, Eric Maverick says, "Do I think there's going to be an E3 this year?" Eric, I am not sure. I
Skeptical.
personally would be okay with an E3 this year as long as it's online and they have some interesting things to talk about. The problem is that E3 should have went online years ago instead of wasting money on bullshit. But
Yeah.
it's it's one of those things where it's like when Blockbuster was like, we have an online presence now, we're gonna send you DVDs and stuff like that, and it's like, it's too late. Like
You're late to the
Netflix.
Well,
party, and
see,
you're late to the party, and the chips are stale.
the problem is, it's like, when it comes to E3, think how much money these companies would save instead of paying for these big giant studios and these you know and for cleanup crews and for set crews for the stage and for their booths. Like, think how much money they would just save if they just were like, yeah, we're just gonna do a video presentation. Like, we're gonna have an E3 state of play, or Nintendo's digital event, or Xbox has their own little digital event.
Well,
It
that's
would
what
probably save
Nintendo
a
did.
ton more money.
Nintendo's
Yeah,
like, look, we're just gonna do a digital event, and I mean, I'll be honest. Some of Nintendo's digital events are,
Hit and miss.
I'm not gonna say they're a miss, but they are more underwhelming than overwhelming. But I mean, still, it's like, at least they can give you vital information, and it's not being like, it's going like, Nintendo's digital events are going out to people who own their products. They're enticing, like, they give you a reason to turn on your Switch and to buy a Nintendo product. Like, you watch these events that like in past E3s, and it's all, like, so much of it is just bullshit. Like, I remember that year where the Xbox One was floundering. I mean, it was floundering, and Microsoft dropped a fucking Shelby Mustang from the ceiling. I'm like, why are you? Y'all need to be talking about the games coming to the fucking system, not hyping up one franchise, which is Forza.
Yeah.
But that's my own personal opinion. Let's anyway, yeah, those are my thoughts, Eric Maverick. There might be an E3 this year, but it's going to be online, which it should be online. Like, there's no reason for there to be these massive events. I think the Game Awards is a waste of time.
Yeah.
You know, because all it is a whole bunch of fucking commercials. And them giving awards to people you don't give a shit about. Like, I know they had the DICE Awards, and Colin and Greg Miller popped up. He's like, fuck Bobby Kotick. It's like, oh, really? Like, we're gonna listen to a guy who was fired from IGN for taking bribes from Sony to give high scores to their games. Like, he's a bastion of integrity. Get the fuck out of my face with that shit.
That's a burn.
Yeah, Greg Miller and Colin Moriarty got in trouble for taking bribes. They got fired from IGN for taking bribes from Sony to give high scores to their games and products. All right? So I don't want to hear shit. I don't want to hear shit from I don't want to hear shit from these fucking people now. Well, he's right about Bobby Kotick. Yeah, it takes an asshole to know an asshole, don't it? Anyway, that's all I was thinking. So Eric, thank you for joining us live and commenting in the chat section. Game Awards are a waste and an embarrassment. Yeah, they are. Yeah, the Game Awards are just some bullshit, really, to be honest with you. They're one big. The first Game Awards wasn't that bad, but with each consecutive Game Award, it's basically just been a whole bunch of commercials for whoever sponsored the Game Awards.
Yeah.
You know, which is why it can never be taken seriously, because it's one big commercial for whoever sponsored it versus celebrating games in general. So, you know, and Jeff Keighley's a piece of shit. Although, I'll always say, I loved when he sat there and caught Don Matrick in that trap.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
He's like, so what do you tell people that don't always want to be online and want to don't want to have to check in or anything like that digitally? Now here's the irony, right? All three of these 9th gen consoles are doing shit like that now. Like, if you want to utilize your Nintendo Online library, it checks to see if you have an online connection and if your account is in good standing. The same thing with Sony or Microsoft. They're all doing this shit. And yet when Microsoft said, yeah, we're going to do it, and take a look at my balls now, and everyone's like, I can't, but then Sony and Nintendo are doing it and no one's saying a fucking word. I don't get it. But yeah, he caught Don Matrick. Don Matrick's like, well, I mean, I don't know what to tell those people. So we have a product for you. It's called the Xbox 360. And Jeff Keighley's like, oh, so that's what you're going to tell people, that if they have a problem with always online and having to be online all the time, that just stick with their 360. And Don Matrick knew when Jeff Keighley said that, he had fucked up. It was hilarious. I was like, man, if you ever want to see someone's career implode in real time, watch that clip. Not live, streamed all over the world clip. It's like, this shit is better than reality TV. Anyway, that's the end of the cast. Anything you guys want to pimp up before we wrap things up?
I think I'm alright.
All right. Kenoshi?
Project Console. This next Tuesday at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time.
All right.
Check that out.
Okay, this is Mr. Red Fox. You guys know the information. You guys know how to get in touch with the channel on through Gmail, Twitch, and Twitter, and Discord. I might start doing a Twitch stream, getting everything together. So make sure my online connection can handle it, and my encoder can handle it, all that other fun stuff. I'll probably get into that eventually. So that being said, that's in the podcast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe, and
Hype responsibly.
peace.